Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Super Soldier Talk. My name is James Rink out there, for those of you who don't know, and we have Jimmy Paine here today. Jimmy's been on this show numerous times, and we're going to do a short show today about Jimmy's experience in, I guess it was Vietnam when this story happened, Jimmy. And how are you doing today?
Real good, James. We're going to be talking about Vietnam timeline 1967, 68.
Okay, great. And tell us a little bit for people who are listening, what happened. Just give it like a quick summary, and then we'll go into more detail.
Well, I'm going to be talking about a demon, an astral being that um, is an interdimensional being, is what I'm going to be talking about tonight.
All right. So where where does this take place?
Um, I want to say it was around the timeline was about 1967, and I want to say it was around Da Nang, Vietnam, but um, out in the central jungles.
Okay, and who are you working for at that time?
Uh, Air America is, I was in and out of Vietnam, um, going from Camp Hero uh, to Vietnam, and then from Vietnam back over to Nellis Air Force Base, just kind of jumping around when this event occurred.
Okay, and it says here Air America was a American passenger and cargo airline established in 1946 and covertly owned and operated by the Central Intelligence Agency from 1950 to 1976. So does that mean you work for the CIA? The agency?
Um,
Are you allowed to say?
I rather kind of just sidestep that for the story.
All
I
right. So,
worked I worked
but
for
how?
many different.
Okay, but can you tell us how old you were at that point?
I was probably around about 12, 13 years old. Um, when this occurred. About 14 years old.
Okay, so are you on the actual aircraft when this took place?
I was using it to go back and forth between my different destinations, and at that time, I was being delivered to Vietnam.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's go a little bit more into the story and yeah, so what happened next?
Well, the the army it came out with a psychological tape, uh, and what they were trying to do was to um, was to make the enemy put down their weapons and not fight us. But basically, what it was, we would get these loudspeakers and we would mount them up, uh, either put them on backpacks. Soldiers would, put a backpack on with a loudspeaker on it, and they'd walk through the jungle broadcasting um, a death song. Um, but I never did do that. What I did was put the loudspeakers into a helicopter, and we would fly. But what this tape was, um, it's can you go to YouTube and type in ghost tape number 10? or go to Google and type in ghost tape number 10 and put it up on your screen where we could kind of show everybody what we're talking about here.
Okay. This one?
Go down to the third one.
This one, Operation Wandering Soul.
Wandering Soul, that's it. That's actually the name of it. Turn it up a little bit. You're hearing a deaf song.
Oh, Jimmy, is it okay for us to listen to this?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, James?
Is it okay for us to listen to this song?
You can listen to a little bit of it. Basically, it's a deaf song.
All right. So, what is it? Tell us a little bit more about this deaf song.
Well, it's about a soldier, and he's killed, but his soul is wandering. Now, Vietnamese were real superstitious people, and but what would we do? They would send soldiers out on foot with these loudspeakers in the jungle and would play this deaf music. But the soldiers in the field felt like they were drawing attention to themselves because it was making noise. So they started putting them in helicopters and flying the helicopters over the trees in the jungle, broadcasting this out at nighttime. And when you're in a jungle at night, and you're hearing this deaf music, it's like funeral music. It's kind of eerie, you know. But what happened? They were coming out with some new night gargle vision, night gargle visions, and the first ones, it was red, and you could put these red gargles on, and um, you could see a little bit of light in the jungle at night, but it would be all red. But what was happening? The first account, they had just got these gargles and they were wearing it. I think after about 10 days, 2 weeks, they started seeing strange things in the gargles. And so HQ thought, well, the men were hallucinating PTSD, and that they were just going crazy. And but they were like firing in the treetops, you know, at things, and were real hysterical. So they pulled up these night vision gargles. They took them out of service, and they asked me to put them on and to test them, see if there's any defects in these gargles. So I put them on, and a couple of weeks pass, and I start to see creatures, just horrible creatures. And so when I realized that I was seeing astral beings from another dimension, So I had to do some research because I wanted to know what I was seeing. So I went and I researched the Vietnamese folklore, to try to figure out, you know, what creatures that they were scared of, and there was a winged creature from Marble Mountain um, that they feared. James, could you pull up Marble Mountain, Demon of Marble Mountain,
Yes, sir.
uh,
And is
on
this one
Google?
the red goggles? Is that what
Yeah, they look similar to that right there.
those the first gen goggles?
They
Yeah.
they look like they to me that looks very similar to it.
Okay, winged creature from Marbled Mountain.
No, put in Demon from Marble Mountain.
Okay. Maybe images like
Yeah,
this. That's not a really good picture, is it? How about this one?
yeah, that right there,
Maybe
the
something
red one. Yeah.
bigger. That's not it. That's a different one.
Well,
If we could try to.
yeah, but that's what that is. That's just a little statue they have in this mountain cave. But when I was in Vietnam, near that mountain, um, they had put in a radar, and they were picking up uh, blimps on this radar, and then we almost had two craft that collided. So something was playing around. Something internally was going on with this radar for the planes and the aircraft that were in the sky. But I ended up, if you go over to Cambodia, um, the museum over in Cambodia, um, put in get a little closer, the capital, down to lower, go down right there. Yeah, Phnom Penh. Yeah, go ahead. Put in a winged demon at Phnom Penh Museum. Are you seeing anything? Is about a museum there? Take that first one you had there. Go back up. Yeah, right there. That one right there, top one. Click on it. No, that's not it. We're into something. I just couldn't see that. I couldn't see it. It was so small there, James. Buddy, back out of that. Um, Let me just go on with the story. Um, I was able. There was a demon they talked about in Cambodia. There was also another demon, a winged demon, they talked about over in the Philippines. I got the impression it's the same demon, but it's different cultures refer to it differently. But there was some type of a demon that had wings, and that it resided in Marble Mountain. So there it is right there. Click on that. Click on that right there. That demon there was the one that I was investigating, and that's in Cambodia, right?
I'm okay. Good question. Yes, I would love to answer that. If I could figure out how to get out of this.
I think that's the one I was investigating.
National Museum of Cambodia. So
Yeah, that's the demon right there. Well, so you have three different cultures, one in Philippines, one in Cambodia, and one in Vietnam. It talked about a winged demon. But anyway, um, you can go ahead and back out of that right now if you want to, James. So I'm going to tell you the story. Now, when I put these gargles on, James, I could see creatures flying by the hundreds, and they were roosting in the trees in Vietnam. So what we did, we encountered it. We first played the music, the portable backpack in the jungle, about 100 miles out from Marble Mountain, out in the jungle, and we didn't have we saw it, but it was like we couldn't capture it. Okay. All right. So I had went out on patrol. That's when I first saw it. Uh, when I was out on patrol, but about 2 weeks passed after that mission, and I had, like I said, I had went back, and I had to do my research, trying to figure out as much as I could about this demon. And so what I ended up doing, they'd had a big battle. Um, One day they had a big battle, and when you have a battle, you have a lot of casualties, a lot of wounded people. So I went to the hospital, and I got buckets of human blood, and I got bandages, uh, and put the bandages in plastic sacks, and I transported several buckets of 5-gallon buckets of blood, and several plastic bags, these bandages, and I brought it, and I took a mop, and I mopped the helicopter down with the blood. Now, the people died, and traumatic injuries, deaths. So the blood was charged up. It was adrenochrome, is what I had there. And anyway, I loaded the helicopter with that tape, Wandering Souls, or what we may call Ghost Tape number 10. And I had loudspeakers mounted up onto this Huey helicopter. And so we took off around about dusk, going back into the area where I had a few weeks before I had seen this demon, and we was flying very low and very slow over the tops of the trees, playing this funeral music during the night, and full moon at night. And sure enough, I saw the creatures and uh, once I fired at it, see, it knew that I could see it, and it tried to attack. It tried to fly to get into the helicopter, and I could shoot this creature. I could knock it back, but I could not kill it. The bullets just would go through this black figure. But what I had done, I had taken a mirror. This mirror was about chest high. I had taken it out of the hospital, and I had put a sack over the mirror. And when the demon was trying to crawl into the helicopter, I pulled this burlap sack off of the mirror, and I captured the demon in the mirror. Now, if you ever watch the movie Constantine, where you see the priest and he's going to do an exorcism, and he captures the demon in the mirror, that's very true. That's how you capture a demon. And once I captured it, I took duct tape, I taped the mirror, and laid it on a blanket because it was trying to get out of the mirror. But that was, when we talk about aliens, you can see an alien, you can touch an alien, but you can't do that to an astro being. And you have a lot of people that get on the internet, and I'm not downing Dr. Stephen Greer. I do believe the man believes in that he's trying to communicate with these creatures, but they're not who they think he is. They're very dangerous.
Wow, Jimmy. Did you see that little video that I found?
Put it up again, James.
I will, if it plays there, it's playing. Okay, I'll read it. No, weird, dude. You know that night vision, now it's green. But in the Vietnam War, the night vision goggles that they were issued were red light. And multiple people in the U.S. military that were using them were seeing that what they were reporting as flying demons. Stop. And so there's an instance where they're flying in these helicopters in Vietnam. It was a safe zone, no hostility. And then the gunner in the bag just started shooting, the piloting what you're shooting at. And this guy, he was like panicking. He's like sweating, and like it looked like it was a winged demon. And he's like a demon. And apparently this winged demon creature was flying at him. And then the people on the ground, the jungles that were using it, were seeing these demonic looking, freaky looking creatures. Then the military banned those night vision goggles, and they replaced them with green light goggles. And it looks like the bullets were working a little bit, but they argued against it. And they were putting stuff inside the chemicals in the goggles, and the chemical was literally leaking. And that's where they were tripping, having some type of hallucinations. And the movie Jacob's Ladder, if you know about the Jacob's Ladder, is about that. So, Jimmy, can you confirm any of that? Is that based on you?
I can confirm. Now, the part about Jacob's Ladder, that doesn't have anything to do with what occurred there. No chemicals were involved with this. What it is?
Wait, hold on, Jimmy. What about this Dyson dye goggle?
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what the goggles were coated with. Now, see, you can only see certain spectrums of light. Humans can only see a certain light spectrums. But when you put these goggles on, you can see it. I would not have believed it had I not saw it with the gargles on, and it was horrible. Uh, it it was it what it does. These creatures, when they know there's going to be a battle, it's like death. They they roost in the trees like buzzards, and when you are wounded and dying, these creatures will get excited and they would come down and gather around you waiting for you to die so they can take your soul. uh it's basically they steal your soul.
Well, is there some? Is that connected to the traditional religious beliefs of this heaven and hell? Like maybe the person's more negative, or it could just be any soul, positive one too. The demon.
James, they seem to thrive upon violent uh death. It's the adrenochrome that they thrive for. Now, because it's not a physical being, um, you can't it it can't absorb the blood that I could tell, because when I would shoot through these creatures, they were nothing but a a black haze. They didn't appear to be uh, biological. It was a form of energy, a form of negative energy, and they seem to feed off of human souls. Um, they seem to feed off our energy, our we are electrical beings. Okay. um we're a form of energy, and they're a form of anti-energy, and they appear to latch on to us while we're dying.
Could you comment about loose energy, maybe?
What now about loose energy?
Loose. It's a would be negative thought forms. There are some creatures that eat it as a food source.
It I believe that's a pretty good example. They seem to feed off of us, our life force. Okay. um it's not human. It didn't look human. It looked to be about 9 feet tall. um it had wings. It had claws at the top of its wings, like a bat. It had the wing. It had the wings of a bat, but its face was I couldn't make the face out other than just for the eyes. But if you would have taken a flashlight and shined at it, I believe it would have absorbed the light of the flashlight, because we did have um, you know floodlights in the helicopter, and we could just point it to it, and it would just absorb the light. No light would pass through it or pass out of it. It just absorbed it. It just The light just ended when it hit it, but it would not illuminate it.
Thank you. All right, so here's another little side of it. So did it have that little hat thing on its head?
No, no, it was very thin. It It had claws. It had claws for his feet, and it had claws for his hands. Um, I want to say maybe 3 claws for the hands. Um, the feet, it was clawed. It had a hoof like a bird hoof or eagle hoof. Excuse me.
All right, Jimmy. So when you were in that plane, was there
Helicopter.
okay the helicopter, and was that you? Describe that video we just saw earlier. Was that describing you? There was a gunner there, suddenly got spooked and started shooting a bunch of bullets.
The gunner's not me. I knew of the gunner. The gunner was discharged. He got a mental discharge. At first, nobody believed him, and then they kept wearing the night gargles, and other people started seeing it. And that's when they took the gargles out of service. They thought, well, maybe the gargles were defective. But about the time that the gargles were taken out of service is when they started having problems with uh, the radar dish down at Da Nang, and where you know, they had several aircraft that almost had collisions. See, if you don't when you're running the radar tower, um, you don't want the aircraft to get too close to one another, and you had a lot of aircraft in the sky at night. It was like something was interfering with the radar system. Now that radar is very close to Marble Mountain, where uh, this demon was supposedly had lived in the past. I never saw it around Marble Mountain. Marble Mountain, people now go there. Tourists now go there to that museum, but it's more or less, you know, people that want to that like to see stuff like that.
Okay, so when you walk through the entrance doors to the National Museum in Phnom Penh, you cannot fail to see the dramatic and imposing giant Garuda from Kolkur. So that's a province in Cambodia. So this particular statue is a half man, half eagle vehicle for the Hindu god Vishu. As a symbol of supremacy, this striding bird king demonstrates the harmony between power and its forceful stride and grace, the slender torso that balanced the upraised arms and wings. So, Jimmy, is it possible maybe this is a whole different species of ET, and the one you saw may have just been one that was evil, or what do you think? Or maybe this is all. How would you interpret?
Well, you have these different cultures. You have the Philippines, which is several hundreds of miles away from Vietnam, and then you have Vietnam seeing things, and you have Cambodia seeing things. Each one of these creatures seem to have a different name for each culture that describes it. I believe it's the same creature, but it's probably migrates. Okay, uh, it's not a biological. It's not biological. I was able to capture this and get it inside of the mirror. So it's astral being.
And when it when you viewed it through the mirror, was it viewing you as well? Was there
Yes,
interaction?
it was trying to get out. It was trying to press onto the glass, and it was rattling the frame, that that the mirror was in, and that's when I rewrapped it in the blanket and taped it in case if it did break, uh, the tape would hold the glass together. They can be captured in a mirror.
Um, wow. So, um, okay. Is it is that why they say like a mirror can be used as a portal? I mean, is it safe to even have a mirror in your bedroom when you sleep at night? What do you think about that?
James, only thing I can tell you is that that's how I caught it. Now, as far as being a portal, um, possibly it could be, but it couldn't back out of it once it was in it. Now, if you break it, possibly, yeah. Um, but when I think of capturing an alien, you don't normally use a mirror. Um, but what is kind of perplexing about this creature is that if it has no physical body, why was it so excited with uh, adrenochrome? You see, it can't absorb it. Now, it did absorb the flashlight or the floodlights, but I could not tell that it was absorbing the blood that it came in contact with.
Jimmy, how many of them did you actually see? Was it just that one?
Thousands of them. There were thousands that were roosting in the trees, and I shot. I took the Gatling gun and maneuvered it down into the trees and shot at it to stir them up. And then once it realized that I could see it, then it became aggressive. I believe had I just shot down there and say I didn't have the gargles on, it probably would not have tried to attack me. But because it realized that I could see it, that's when it became aggressive.
Would you describe this being as like a griffin type creature?
Could you define a griffin or put a picture up
Well,
of a
griffin
griffin?
would have wings, a lion body, and beak head. And yes, I put a picture up. Just give me a moment here. But yeah, so because I had a guy in Florida, he had a cabin near Cedar Key, and he saw a griffin in the woods, and there were also these pink grays that were abducting his children. It's a long story, but yeah. So I think these beings are probably everywhere around the world, not just Cambodia.
No, James. These creatures only seem to thrive on death.
Hmm.
I don't think I could have captured it for study had it not been for the blood. And I'm not just talking about, yeah, let's you go donate a pint of blood. I'm talking about adrenochrome, like a violent death.
Okay. Well, can you hear me?
That looked a little more like it there.
That's from The Exorcist.
Well, the first one you had up, or the last one you had up, this is a little more like it, but it's hard to see the face because it's all black.
All black. Oh wow. Okay. I'm just one
But
more.
it was much thinner than that. Uh,
There's the
Maybe
griffin.
about 9 foot, 10 foot in length. I'm talking about the body. Um,
Not like a bird wing
no, no,
lion thing. Okay.
no.
More
More
upright.
like more like what you had before you started
Oh, that
scrolling through.
Pazu thing. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, so Jimmy, after you saw that and you were and they were flying towards you. Were you able to get away safely, or did they follow you?
No, I was not trying to get away from it. I was trying to lure it to me. Um, we needed to capture one or more for study, and that was I purposely baited the helicopter, mop the helicopter floor down with the blood. I smeared it all over the sides of the cab. I took the wounded bandages and put it into the helicopter, spread it across the floor. I used it as bait. There was no seance involved in it. What this was to see, was to lure it in, and it seemed to be attracted to the blood.
Okay, so it got lured on the helicopter, and the only way you could see it is when you had your goggles on, right?
Yeah, if you took the goggles off, you could not see it. And when it was trying, it had grabbed a hold of the side of the helicopter and was hanging on and was having to duck down just to get into the door or into the hatch uh, that the troops, get in and out of. It was having trouble trying to get into the helicopter. It was so big. But once it got close enough, or where it was trying to squeeze to dip his head down to get into the craft, is when I pulled the mirror up and reflected it to it. And once it reflected off of the creature, the creature was absorbed into the mirror.
All right, Jimmy, and so that creature would not have been able to get into the helicopter. The door was closed, correct?
Well, I'm just using, we always flew with the doors open. We do that because you never know if you get shot down. If that door is closed, you get shot down, it may jar it. And I have been in a helicopter with other Montauk boys, and in fact, five of them burned to death. I'm the only one that got out of the helicopter. So, like I said, we lost a lot of Montauk boys in Vietnam, but I always flew with the doors open after that.
Understood. Thank you, Jimmy. And so at that point, you made your getaway. You go back to base, and what did they say?
Well, we took it back for study. It was brought back to Area 51 for study. Um, we had never seen anything like it. Now the night vision was classified. Uh, those those head units, those gargles were gathered up, and they were packed up and sent back along with the creature. And I have not I have not encountered one since then because I have not had the gargles on since that mission. But I do know that there's other people out there studying these astro beings, but um, I don't think it's very wise um, to do that.
So let's say, okay, so you bring this the mirror back to Area 51. They take the cover off of it. Does the demon escape into the base, or is it stay there in the mirror?
James, all I did was my orders was to capture it. Now, what happened to the night vision goggles and the mirror once it went back to Area 51? See, I stayed in Vietnam. See, that was all brought back to Area 51. I did not accompany the mirror back or the goggles back.
Okay. is there a frequency we can play to rebuke or cleanse areas of these creatures? You think?
You mean to repel them?
Yeah, to repel them. Correct. Yeah.
Well, sound seemed to be a factor. Playing the funeral music seemed to be a factor in making them roost. You know, I believe sound would have an effect. Um, Now, what sound would cling them? I don't know.
Is it possible to get a hold of one of these red goggle? Is there any still available on the public market? Or are they all gone? They're all
James, I would have to say they're gone. Um, first first off, there's people um, that try to sell glasses made out of this stuff. That chemical has been banned by the EPA. Um, Now, whether you can get it overseas, I can't tell you that, but the chances are you'd probably be ripped off for what you would pay for it. Uh, you know, Area 51 definitely knows that how to see them. Um, and they probably have improved the gargles since then because that was the first generation. The first generation of night vision was red. Um, Now they were replaced with green night vision shortly afterwards, but it was only with the red ones that we noticed it.
okay. And was that actually tall white technology? You think?
James, I don't know. I I be honest with you. Well, yeah, night vision is alien technology. Um, I have been on flying saucers where you can look through the portal, and see out during the night. Um, but yeah, I believe it's crossover technology. But I don't believe it was given to us. I believe it was back engineered.
Okay, so the red goggles are gone, and what did you just go back? Did everybody go back, or was there any residual effect to using them?
Yeah, I have for a while there. I would see things. If you, I believe if you wear them long enough, um, it's possible you could train yourself to see without the night gargles. But I didn't have them that long to prove the theory. But I believe if somebody wore that red constantly, uh, it's possible they could train themselves to detect anomaly.
Well, did anybody in your group was exposed to it longer than you and had any unusual residuals?
I had a little bit afterwards, but
Like, what did you see?
well, what did I experience? I'm not sure if it was PTSD or was it me really seeing things, but sometimes I could have sworn I saw something moved and it was nothing there. But I just accumulate this. I just assumed that was wartime nerves.
All right. Okay, Jimmy. This is a good place to end the story.
Yeah, I just I just want to let you know that the story is true about Operation Wandering Souls, and not too many people know of it, um, but you know, it's very different than a biological alien. It's an astral being, and we just don't really know that much about those type of interdimensional beings. But I have captured one.
Thank you. Okay. Well, is there any? So we need to watch Jacob's Ladder. Was there any other movies that was based off of this we need to see?
There was one movie. Um, I'm not real sure the name of it, but it was on TV a while back where this somebody's uncle died and they inherited a house that had ghosts in it, and you could wear these special glasses, but you could see these ghosts behind glass walls. And they used a similar technique of blowing blood in a junkyard to arouse these creatures. I thought the story was kind of eerie, similar, but um, well, they took it, made it into a movie, changed it around a little bit. It's possible, but
So the movie They Live and Jacob's Ladder, and
They Live is true. I've had those sunglasses before. I have seen creatures with those sunglasses, but they'll give you a headache. I believe that the lenses is probably experimental. They Live and Operation Wandering Souls. I believe the goggles and the sunglasses are probably very similar.
Constantine was a movie that trapped a demon with a mirror.
Yeah, that's the closest I've been able to explain it. But it's true. You can trap a demon with a mirror.
Well, Jimmy, maybe we should work on a movie script together.
I I would say they probably worked on it way before you thought of it.
Uh,
They're definitely cashing in on
your story.
well, it's not so much my story, it's the story of other soldiers telling it as well. Uh, they just they didn't know what they were dealing with. I did, um, and they didn't. Only about two other guys took part in it with me.
Okay.
Uh,
All right, Jimmy. Thank you. All right. So if you'd like to learn more about the work I do, you can subscribe to. I prefer you subscribe over to Rumble just in case something happens here. You can also go to my nonprofit Healing Soul Survivors and make a donation. Would really that would help out with the I have a $300 hosting fee to pay this month. So on top of that, you could also go to Neological Tech and get a copy of my book. You can purchase a meditation device to help you relax. You can put these on your lap and meditate for 30 minutes a day. I use mine a couple of times a week, and it's helped me out with getting my anxiety levels down for my PTSD. So, so that's Neological Tech. The link's in the description. And I want to say thank you, Jimmy, for coming on here at such short notice. Like literally, I just called you up, and we're gonna get this is the other guy, Jerome, on here in October. But any final comments, Jimmy?
yeah, I am looking for a corporate sponsor, and if anybody's interested in sponsoring me, uh, I'm not interested in doing group lectures. I'm interested in serious research. But if there's a corporation out there that would like to sponsor me, you can get a hold of James Rink, James, could you put either your email or your phone number up where they know how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, go to info@supersoldiertalk.com. You can also go to supersoldiertalk@gmail.com. There is an email in the description. You can just click on that. So I won't be giving my phone number out, but Jimmy, let's call it a night. Thank you all. We'll all see you later. Thank you, audience members, for joining us here on such short notice. I love you all, most of you. Well, I will love you all as much as I can. And Jimmy, thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. See you all later on the other side. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.